It
is week 14 in the NFL. Column. It's the spin zone. It's the bad NFL picks. We pick them so you don't have to. Just do the complete opposite of what we tell you, and your bets will be fine. Column, how are you feeling this evening, sir? How's Dublin, Ireland at almost midnight your time, right?
Yeah, it is. It's almost Sunday here, so it's almost game day. Good, good. This should be fun, entertaining, but nobody should take any notice of what we say when it comes to putting money anywhere.
Look, if you could bet just based on winning and losing, you could do it off of this show. But point spreads, don't know what they are, don't care. Not a big fan of that. I'm just a big fan of football. And full disclosure, Broncos fan, uh, this is a 93.5% absolutely neutral show. Cowboys Lions was the first game, guys, Thursday night. Lions whooped them. I started to get a little bit of faith in the Cowboys. Can we rehash real quick? The Cowboys looked like they were coming on strong. They took down the Chiefs, but Lions got it done, uh, pretty much sealing the Cowboys' fate, I think, this season. Did you have any thoughts of that game? Were you able to watch any of it?
So the highlights, yeah, I mean the Lions have been really up and down. They've had the ability to score points at will at times this season, and at other times they've really struggled. The Dan Campbell has taken back play calling duties. For them, this was a good win. Took advantage of a Cowboys defense that have been improving recently, but really has struggled this season. Mike, the big story for me from this one is the fact that Brian Branch is out with an Achilles injury. Lost him on a play that probably never should have taken place because it was a false start. And that's what this league is like, right? Everything can be seem to be going in your favor, and all of a sudden it turns around. But you got to feel for the Lions. They have had really kind of dispiriting injuries 2 seasons in a row now. And for the Cowboys, I mean, this really was probably a death knell to their playoff hopes in many respects. They'll feel that they'll still compete. But when you look at around the rest of the NFC, it's difficult to see anyone outside of the winner of the NFC East getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, and to close the book on that game, guys, and we'll get to our picks in a second. The Cowboys, I mean, they're kind of still in the hunt. 6-1. They're second in the NFC East. I think the Eagles are going to come on. They're 2 games back of them, so probably not going to happen for them. The Lions are third in the NFC North, so that's a tough place to be on the NFC side. All hope is not lost for them. They are the 8th seed as we sit here right now. But Colum, let's move on to the games that are coming. Let's start with this super exciting Titans-Browns game. It looks like it's at the Browns. Wow, somebody's got to win this one, right?
Yeah, so someone has to win. I think what's interesting for me on this one is the media narrative is really that it's Shador against Cam Ward, to rookie QBs who are have both, I suppose, had a lot of hype and both have a lot of struggles, a lot of talk about both of them yet again this week. Some people feeling Cam Ward at the podium last week was really kind of maybe dictating things a little too much for a rookie QB. Other people liking his assertiveness, liking him taking control. So I think for me, though, the story of this game is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett he's incredible. We know that. We see it week in, week out. But he is just 4 sacks away from breaking the all-time sack record. And it's not, he could do it in this game. That is the crazy
Yeah.
thing about this. It's week 14 and he could do it because Cam Ward has taken 48 sacks on the season. And we've seen Myles Garrett have 5 sack games already this year. So there's no reason that he can't go out and do it. That's the thing I think, will be worth keeping an eye on. For me, this is, I think the Browns will get this done. The Titans look better than they did under the previous head coach, who I think Brian Callahan was the worst head coach we've seen in the league since Nathaniel Hackett. He wasn't Hackett level, but he really wasn't good enough. But the Browns have more about them, even if I'm very uncertain about the franchise, if I'm uncertain about Shador. They have more about them, and their running game is not bad. I wouldn't say it's good, but I do think Judkins has been impressive for them. And I think between that and a defense that can really put the squeeze on a Titans O-line that just hasn't been good enough for, even though, I mean, you go back a couple of years when Callahan first came in, he brought in his dad. There was all talk about how good the O-line was going to be, but it shows that it really is a full system. So to me, I see the Browns getting the win, and the Titans could end up with the number 1 overall pick again next year.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'll take the Browns in this one. I think because they're at home, and because there's always that who's the best player on the worst team, and I think Myles definitely qualifies as one of those where you've just got a guy. It's a shame, right? It's just a shame for the league. It's a shame for him, and it's unfortunate for the Browns that they can't do anything when they have a player like that. And before we go to the Seahawks Falcons, I'll give you the overall. The Browns actually are not eliminated from the playoffs. They are 3-9. They are in 4th place in the AFC North, and they have less than 1% whether they win or lose, but they are still in it. So good luck to the Browns. Titans are eliminated from the playoffs. Colum, let's move on to this Seahawks Falcons game in Atlanta. Now, the Seahawks kind of came out earlier in the year, and everybody was saying that they were the best team in the league. At least some people were. They sit at 9-3. They're currently 5th in the NFC playoff race, going against an Atlanta team who is 4-8. Essentially, it's all done for them. Michael Penix, that whole situation. I will take about 2 seconds to tell you I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one, and I don't think it'll particularly be close. I think this might be one of those 30-13 type games. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you were talking there about good players on bad teams, and got to feel a little bit for Bijan with the Falcons and Drake London, who has missed the past couple of games, but was on a run of 100-yard games prior to that. But the Falcons, unfortunately for them, Penix 5th season-ending injury of his career to date, and he's only in the league 2 years. It's difficult to see that being sustainable. On the Seahawks, I mean, yeah, they won last week very, very handily over the Vikings, but that really had nothing to do with Sam Darnold, who really struggled last week. Now, that Vikings defense under Brian Flores is very good. It's very blitz happy. It put him under all sorts of pressure, but he has been really poor for 2 weeks now. Obviously throwing 4 interceptions, took a huge number of sacks last week. and uh, he'll be looking to, I suppose, have a bit of a bounce back game. Seahawks defense though looks really, really good, and has been impressive. And I would expect them to have too much for the Falcons. Falcons are, they, given the draft capital that we've seen them give up, where this roster is, where the franchise is, they are going to have to do some serious work in the offseason, because right now they are aimlessly drifting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I already made my pick, but the last thing I would say about at least the Seahawks is I am a closet Sam Darnold fan. So I love the late bloomer, wrong coach, wrong offense, wrong OC, whatever it is that causes these quarterbacks to quote unquote fail in the NFL. Daniel Jones, another maybe a good example. We're about to talk about him, but it's nice to see these younger guys get that second chance and show that maybe there is something there. I think maybe the NFL gives up a little too soon on them, and I think it's been a couple good stories there with for the Seahawks and the Colts with their quarterback situation. Speaking of the Colts, huge game with playoff implications. Colum, this one means a lot to both of these teams. They should at this time of year, but these guys are neck and neck. Now Daniel Jones has a fractured fib. That's unfortunate. Their offense has not. I guess the league maybe is starting to take them a little more seriously, because they kind of came out of the gates just blowing everybody away. That's kind of come down to earth. So it's at the Jags. It's your turn. Who's winning the game, and what are your thoughts on it?
This is a really interesting AFC South matchup. Again, with two of these teams obviously having, I suppose, not only playoff aspirations, but they're looking to win the division. And the Colts came out very early on, did really well, but they have tapered off, and that injury to Daniel Jones that you mentioned really seems to have hampered him. Jonathan Taylor, great rusher, and against the Jags when it's in Indianapolis, he is the business. He is absolutely fantastic. Can't be said though on the road in Jacksonville, and that is the issue with the Colts. They have not won in Jacksonville in more than a decade. You got to go all the way back to 2014 for them to have registered a win, and I'm very interested to see what impact Daniel Jones's injury has on him, because I don't think he has looked right over the past few games. I know obviously that last week he still went over 200 yards, but he's the mobility isn't there. And that sort of injury takes time to heal.
Yeah.
I think this will be a close game. Division games can kind of go any which way, but there's a huge amount on the line. And we have seen the Colts go into Jacksonville previously, where they just needed to get the win, and they haven't been able to do it. I think you've seen the Colts also pick up injuries in the defense. I'm a big fan of Shane Steichen, and Tyler Warren just looks absolutely fantastic. But Liam Cohen seems to have got the Jags playing really well, almost at times in spite of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor still flatters to deceive. At times he looks fantastic. At other times he looks like he has kind of really, really struggled. But they're a run defense that are really impressive. I wish sure Broncos were half as good as this Jags team are at stopping the run. And I think that if they can shut down Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be tough sledding for this Colts team. I have the Jags winning a close one.
Yeah. I really went back and forth on this one. I'm taking the Colts. They are the 6th seed. The Jags are the 3rd seed in the playoffs right now. They both sit at 8-4. I think the Colts need this one more. It's going to be tough. I wouldn't put money on this one, but yeah, I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going against the grain here. Wow. Commanders, Vikings. Somebody's got to watch this one, I guess. I'm sure their fans will. But this is a Commanders team who took our beloved Broncos right to overtime last week, and a Vikings team that got, I think you just said, was blown out by the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, they
Okay.
were completely they could not put up points. They obviously were starting their undrafted rookie last week, and it has been for the Vikings. Look, it's been all about the JJ McCarthy question, and I think that's what the rest of the season is all about. A lot of talk last week about whether they kind of kept him in the concussion protocol themselves. Though I think Mike and you and I have touched on this before. I think in the fullness of time, teams are going to keep players in the concussion protocol for longer. I think when you see players coming back so quickly, you won't see that in the future. But this is what this is all about. It's about JJ McCarthy. It's about him, I suppose, taking steps, showing sort of any signs of improvement, because up to now he has obviously when we have seen him on the field, particularly obviously in that Packers game, he was horrific. Like he wasn't an NFL caliber player, and obviously very memeable given what we have some of the quotes he has given, but that Justin Jefferson has kind of been in a strop given some of the QB play. Kevin O'Connell is known as a QB whisperer. There is probably a 30 for 30 ultimately
episode in the making.
Yeah, but we will see. The Commanders, I think, have improved in recent weeks on both sides of the ball. I think it's going to be Marcus Mariota again this week. He obviously played pretty well last week, and the Commanders' defense played pretty well last week. If they play like that, I would expect them to beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to. I think they'll be good on defense, and for the Commanders coming off taking on the Broncos defense, they now have a blitz happy, and that'll be tough. But I just think that the Vikings are going to struggle to score points, and Dan Quinn has taken back control, and that seems to have made an impact. And I don't think that the Vikings have the ability to score points in the way that the Broncos did. So I expect this one to be low scoring, a bit of a slugfest, but I'm going to say that the Commanders maybe get, I haven't seen the odds, but I think, certainly a few weeks ago, people probably would have gone with the Vikings. So maybe it's a surprise for me to say the Commanders, but I do think it will be the Commanders, because they were able to move the ball up and down the field on a good Broncos defense last week.
Yeah, I would have to go with Commanders here as well. Maybe that is my Broncos fandom coming out. I thought that they look like a pretty tough team, and even if it's Mariota, he's a serviceable professional NFL quarterback. I don't think the Vikings have that right now. So even at home, I'm going to give this one over to the Commanders. No real playoff picture implications in this game. The Vikings are fourth in the NFC North at 4-8. The Commanders are third in the NFC East at 3-9. Neither of these teams are going to the playoffs, but yeah, we both see the the Commanders coming out with a big win or a good win. I don't think it's going to be close like you do. I think they're going to dominate this game. Bengals Bills does have some playoff implications. Column, the Bills are the 7th seed currently, behind those pesky Patriots in the AFC East. But the Bills are 8-4. I keep waiting for them to come on, and turn it on, kind of like you wait for the Chiefs to turn it on. Whether that's going to materialize in time to make a playoff run for them, I don't know. And the Bengals, do we have a starting quarterback for the Bengals? Column, what's the latest on that?
Yeah, well, Burrow is back. Burrow wants to play ball, and it's great to see. I suppose a player when you saw George Pickens, who looked like he had zero interest in being there the other night, and the Cardinals having all sorts of issues with Kyler Murray. He's out. We'll come to that, but he puts up a post saying weird year. He doesn't seem to think maybe share the same view as the team. But Burrow, this is to see Burrow go up against Allen. That's what we want to see, right? If you were a football fan, doesn't matter who you're a fan of, these are the types of things that we want to see. Now, Josh Allen was the league MVP last year, but he can still make magic happen. But his issue this year is he seems to be forcing a little bit too much, turning the ball over all too frequently. And look, as players get older as well, that mobility and putting your body out there, that tends to dissipate perhaps. So I think this will be a fascinating battle to see. For the Bengals, it is about they need to get the Bills offense off the field. Where the Bills have been really successful has been when they have been able, they've had long drives, they've held the ball, they've kept the ball away from their opponents. Where they've fallen down is when they haven't been able, where they've turned it over. So that's the piece. Now the Bengals have a very good running back in Chase Brown. Good out of the backfield, good at carrying the ball. And he has 6 straight games of 100 yards from scrimmage, and you're only so that is, I think, very, very impressive. You're in terms of over the past 5 seasons, right? The only 2 players have had longer streaks than that, one being Christian McCaffrey and the other being Jonathan Taylor. And we know how good those particular backs are. So I think this, for all the Bengals issues in terms of the defense, they have an ability to score points. And I would think that they will do that against the Bills. I think that's the Achilles heel for the Bills, is that you can get at their defense if you can get hold of the football. I just think that the Bills at home, and while they probably will make the playoffs, certainly the odds are in their favor, they do need to keep winning. And I think that they will do enough to win this, probably by a touchdown. But I think both teams will score more, more in excess of 20 points in this, and it's possible both teams score more than 30.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you about everything you said there. I'm also taking the Bills here at home. The Bills are the 7th seed in the playoffs. So as far as if they win, it gets to about a 94% that they will make the playoffs. So it's good to see the Bengals. It's hope Burrow is healthy. He's one of the best in the league when he is. And as far as the early games go, this is the one I'll be watching, keeping my eye on the most, because it does have that potential to just be a really entertaining game. I'd love to see Burrow and Josh just go off and have an exciting game. And I'm sure the NFL fans, other than the Bills and Bengals, would love to see that too. So we're both taking the Bills there. Let's move on now to a real banger: the Saints and the Bucks. The Bucks are first in the NFC South, so it's not like we don't have a playoff team playing here, Colum. But the Saints, you got to go way down here to the eliminated section of the graphic in front of me, are 2-10. They have been eliminated from the playoffs. I'm a closet Bucks fan, so I'm taking the Buccaneers to win this. This is a team I had higher hopes for earlier in the year. I thought they were going to be really good. And of course, I have a secret crush on their quarterback, and always have. Always thought he was, just a great story. I know he's got a lot of haters out there, but these two teams are going in pretty different directions here. Colum, how do you see this? I got the Buccaneers winning easily at home against the Saints.
Yeah, look, the Saints have been massively disappointing. They don't have a QB, and that is the issue for them. Bucks have been up and down. You've got to admire Baker's spikiness and his willingness to put his body on the line. Probably,
his teammates, Colum, love him.
Oh yeah,
like they just adore him. Fans hate him. The fans always hate what
opposing fans.
Opposing fans. But if he's your quarterback, I mean, he's willing to put his body out there. He'll do anything for his players. He never gives up. I mean, yeah, we always forget these guys come into the league when they're 22 years old or whatever, and we expect so much of them, and we forget what we were like when we were 22, or like me, who has a 22-year-old child. I cannot, as proud as I am of my children, that's a big spotlight to be in. So we're at 27 minutes, Colum. You got the Bucks here, I take it.
I do. Just for the Saints, keep an eye. Can Vele continue to build? And obviously, the Saints now have an Irish kicker, Charlie Smith. So people over here will be keeping an eye on that. But yeah, you've got to imagine this is the Bucks.
Yeah, and if anybody disagrees, please put in I want to address this comment here from Chris. I don't know if you're still watching, Chris. I don't understand. I'm not sure what you're asking or what you're saying. Colum, you best time us the team you power back on Monday night and Friday the day tomorrow night. Chris, I want to be at whatever party you're at right now, but I'm not sure if you had something you were really trying to say there. I didn't catch that. Colum, was it Irish or was it Gaelic? What was? Do you know what that was supposed to mean?
No, I think if Chris, you may be a bot, or perhaps you have imbibed some substances that are maybe hopefully you are having a good time.
Yeah, hope the best for you, Chris. I hope everything's working all right. Somebody do a welfare check, Joe, though, just in case. Let's move on now. I've got all night, Colum. So you're the one that's however long you want to go into this. Don't blame me when the show's over and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to run through them. I can do this all night, buddy.
You give an Irishman a microphone, and this is what's going to happen.
Give an Irishman a pint and a microphone and sit down. Steelers, Ravens. So this is another one of the early games that I'll have my eyes on. Disappointing year, I think we can all agree, for everything with Baltimore. However, It's not like the Steelers are lighting it up either. So the AFC North at 6-6, the Ravens lead the North. They're in the driving position to take that division. If they win this, though, they still only have an 80% chance of getting in. I'm going to have to figure out why that is. I'm assuming. How is that even possible if they're leading the division? We've got the Raiders there, or the Ravens there in first place, and then the Steelers are at 6-6. Where's everybody else? What am I missing here?
That division
Browns are done. Who am I
is a mess.
forgetting?
You got the Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals. So I guess the reason these odds are the way they are is that the Ravens and the Steelers are so close that they'll still only have an 80% chance of making it, because the Steelers are kind of right there with them, but they won't be if the Ravens win. So let's gosh, it's kind of a tough game to call. I'm gonna go. Is it my turn to go first? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Ravens at home. I keep expecting them to wake up. I'm gonna give them one more week to wake up. What's going on with Jackson and that offense? I don't know. But I'm not seeing anything from the Steelers that tells me they can go into Maryland and take down the Ravens in what essentially is a playoff game for the AFC North. What say you, Mr. Cronin?
Yeah, this last year the Ravens ran all over the Steelers, and the Steelers wanted to sort that, but we saw the Bills last week. They were able to run all over the Steelers as well. I imagine that's what you're going to see the Ravens do. But the Ravens have had ball security issues. They've talked about that. That is something to keep an eye on. If they can hold on to it, I think things are not well in the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things. Mike Tomlin, has been getting increasingly annoyed at the media earlier and earlier, kind of every year, and fans are calling for him to go. I think the Ravens can win this, but it's not going to be pretty in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, from either team, we'll both take the Ravens. On Mike Tomlin, folks, careful what you wish for. Mike Tomlin is a great football coach. I know that you'll hear the media tell you how the message gets stale or what have you. This is a team that'll run through a wall for Mike Tomlin. I still believe that. Is he the greatest coach in the world? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm a fan of a team. I'll let you guess which team it is based on what you see on the screen that has gone through periods of time where after Mike Shanahan was gone and then after Kubiak was gone, like your starting quarterback, you can complain about him. You can complain about your coach, but be careful what you wish for, because Tomlin is a fine coach. Hopefully he finds a way to right that ship there. But I think the quick fix with Aaron Rodgers probably was not the way to go. I think they need to do a little self-examination, maybe start that rebuild process. And I think Tomlin's got the energy and the fortitude to do something like that. So here's a Dolphins Jets. I used to have when I do the mic'd up shows, I just flip a coin to see who goes first. I would probably just flip a coin here. I'm gonna go a little farther. Colum, it's your pick, right? So I'm gonna let you go first, but I will be surprised if we have the same ideas on this game. Are you ready to make yours, or you want me to go?
No, I can go. And I'm going to go with the most cursed franchise in the league, and probably both of these teams might say, "Hey, that could apply to us." given their respective history over the last few years. But yeah, and I'm going to do that because the weather forecast, the
Oh,
Dolphins cannot play in the cold. That is just how it goes. This team cannot win in the cold, and for that reason and that reason alone, it has nothing to do with the Jets. It has everything to do with the weather. The Jets are a mess. Ownership there is horrendous. I mean, there's plenty of competition for worst owner in the league, but Woody Johnson, I think, probably holds the crown at the moment. And I think bringing in Tyrod Taylor has helped. And I just don't know who the Dolphins are supposed to be. Yeah, they beat the Saints last week, but just about. So I'm going Jets.
yeah, I'm going Dolphins here, Colum. Uh, I've watched a few of these Dolphins games, and lately they're starting. What's his name? A Chain or their running back. Um, I hate that
Yep,
I'm
Devon
so glad
Achan. Yep.
I'm so glad I have you on the show, folks. I don't have to do anything. I I can't look good anymore. I'm too old, but at least I can still talk and set up Column to do all the hard work. But like this is a game. I think the Dolphins are going to go in there. We'll see about the weather. That's the one wrench you threw in me. Essentially, these guys are out of it anyway. Both teams. The Dolphins are one behind the Chiefs. Out to you, Chiefs. At who are at 10th in the standings in the AFC. The Dolphins are right behind them at 11th. But this is a team that has looked after earlier in the season where I thought, is Mike McDaniel getting fired this year? And he still may. But they've looked like they're fighting for him, like they're playing for him. And I found myself a little jealous of their offense the last few weeks I've been watching them play. And I don't know what their scores have been, but I think the Dolphins are going to go in there. If it's not a full out Jets type blizzard, if it's just cold, I think they're gonna whoop them. I think they're gonna take them down really hard. Interesting to see. So I'm glad that we don't make the same picks, and I'm glad we're not putting any money on this stuff. Let's move on, folks, over to our beloved Broncos against the Raiders. Again, talk about two teams in very different directions. Broncos are at 10-2, currently holding the second seed in the AFC. The Raiders are eliminated from playoff contention, fourth in the AFC West with 2 wins against 10 losses. Pete and Gino are in a little bit of trouble out there in Vegas. Now, I'm taking the Broncos here, obviously, and on a show earlier, which is not a national show, it's a Broncos show. I picked the 24 to 14, I believe. I'm sticking with that. I think the Broncos take care of business here, although I think the Raiders are going to give them a game. They always do. Anytime the AFC West or anytime these divisions play each other, you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm going Broncos here.
Yeah, for anyone out there who is a Broncos fan or a Raiders fan, you can find our in-depth preview of this game on Mike's channel. The reality is that the Raiders offense absolutely stinks, and Geno Smith could end up with a lower QBR than Jamarcus Russell with the way things are going. They have all sorts of problems. Another team around the league, there are no standout teams we've talked about really in the league this year, but there are lots of really bad teams, and the Raiders are one of those. Yeah. But it is a divisional matchup, so it will be closer than I suppose the rosters would have you believe. But yeah, you got to imagine the Broncos are getting the win in this one.
Yeah, and Max Crosby didn't practice. He was held out. He's listed as questionable, but by all indication, he will play, and he certainly loves playing against the Broncos. So I think we'll see a fight from them, but I just don't think Geno and that offense can do enough against. God, a struggling Denver defense? Can I say that? The Commanders sure took them to the end, but I think we're all in agreement. Even Raiders fans will probably pick the Broncos in this one. Rams, a lot of people's best team. They're the darlings of the league. The Rams and Cardinals, who had just a terrible, disappointing season, have already been eliminated. They're 3-9, fourth place in the NFC West. And these Rams, who are sitting in the second seed behind a surprising Bears team at 9-3. They're making the playoffs. If they lose, it's 90%. If they win, it's 98%. I think this, even in Arizona, Colum, I'm assuming you're taking the Rams here.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals are 0-8 against teams entering their games with a winning record, and it's difficult to see that the Rams need to continue to win, and they'll be looking to bounce back after a surprise loss on the road to the Panthers last week. I think you've seen Sean McVay say all the right things in the media this week. He's going to get his team up because they have to bounce back. And while I think the Cardinals made the right decision in terms of moving on from Kyler Murray, I don't think they will have enough. I think they'll still be competitive because it's a divisional game. I think they'll make life difficult for the Rams, but the Rams need to win, especially given that they have the Lions and the Seahawks up next. So I expect them to get it done.
What a wild NFC West finish to the season this is going to be. Like you said, the Lions at 8-5, right? This is NFC North. Excuse me. The Rams. Who am I looking for? Oh, the Seahawks, right? I'm missing somebody else.
The Seahawks,
the 49ers are right
49ers.
there. That's who I was trying to think of. So you've got the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams. These are all must-win games for all these guys. Rams are going to take care of business here. There's no way that the Rams are going to take this game lightly. I think three of the best games, certainly some big impact games, are these last three. Bears and Packers. Bears are at the top of the NFC and at the top of the NFC North. And then the Packers are in the 6th seed. They're only a game out. I'm not sure about tiebreakers, how that works, how many games back they are, whatnot, but they are right there with them. Gosh, tough one to pick. I am going to take the Pack at home, though. I do love what we've seen from the Bears this year. Caleb Williams is looking like an NFL quarterback. Certainly coaching has been much better there. But the Packers at home, it's December, playoff implications. I go Pack here.
Yeah, the Bears are winning, but they're winning almost in spite of Caleb Williams. And the Ben Johnson has said that. He said that we're winning games in spite of the passing game. Now he tried then to kind of row it back and say, "Oh, that's not just all on Caleb." But I think that was him looking to motivate his QB. We've seen definite growth from Williams. He's only been sacked 19 times so far this season. He was sacked 68 times last year. So he's averaging about 1.6 sacks a game. This year it was 4 sacks a game. Last year, so that is significant growth. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of the run from the Bears in this. Packers have lost some of their best run defenders, with Wyatt going down with an ankle injury, and they're going to want to probably I suppose take away Micah Parsons a little bit. The Pack being at home is significant for me, but it feels like it's a time of change in the NFL with the the Chiefs no longer being the monster that they once were. And I'm going to say that for once, the Bears are going to go in there,
Mm.
where they're leading, where this isn't an upset, scrappy. Somehow they find a way to do it. I think Ben Johnson is a really good coach, and I think they win a real nail biter. This will be a field goal game.
Wow. And the NFC North is just tight. Bears at 9-3, Packers at 8-3, Lions at 8-5. Wow. Good luck. Good luck to all those teams. Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game too. Still taking the Pack. Probably the biggest game for our team that we're not playing in, and for playoff implications for these two should be. And it's the Sunday night game. So you got your Texans and heading into whatever Arrowhead Stadium is called now to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs coming off, was it last week they lost to the Cowboys? Wow, they need a win. As much as my fandom, Broncos fan would love to see the Chiefs lose this game. I don't think anybody wants anything to do with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win this one. Maybe not in the old-fashioned Chiefs style of pretty, but I think against this defense, the Chiefs aren't, they're just going to find a way to win at home, and maybe Mahomes does something. I'm calling this like a field goal game too, but I'll take the Chiefs here. Colum, what do you think?
Yeah, this is another one that's forecast to be very, very cold on Sunday night in Arrowhead. Played in freezing temperatures, and Texans haven't had to do that this year. Chiefs with a lot of experience on that, and I think their backs are to the wall, and for that reason, yeah, I'm I would love to be picking the Texans here. I really I really would. I'd like to see the Chiefs vanquished, because nobody wants to play them in the playoffs when you're a fan of another team. But champions usually have a punch or two left, and Patrick Mahomes has been very, very good against the Texans in his career. And I think because it's at Arrowhead, they will get it done. Now, would it be a shock if the Texans won? I don't think it would be a shock. But because the Chiefs absolutely have to do it, I think that they will get it done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're taking the Chiefs here on the spin zone. The Chiefs, if they lose this game, they're essentially cooked. It would be a real tough road. They would need a lot of help. Even with a win, they are less than 50-50. So I think Texans are going to give them a game. Again, I call it a field goal game. So yeah, it certainly could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'd be surprised if there was a blowout either way. But we'll take the Chiefs on a unanimous, unfortunately, heartbreaking win for the Chiefs for us. But last game of the week, Monday night, not exactly the biggest game in the world, but it's not a bad game. I'm interested to see if the Eagles, who by all rights have a great roster, a very capable quarterback, and not a lot of holes. Probably one of the more just solid-ish teams. They're first place in the NFC East column. They're there's no worries. They're going to make the playoffs, but their 4 losses, I think some of their performances this year have been a little, I guess, disappointing. And then going up, out all the way across the U.S. to play the Chargers. Maybe they get the West Coast, hangover flying over there. The Chargers are at 8-4. We'll see what's going on with Herbert and his broken hand. But what are your thoughts? Who's winning this game?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because both of these teams sitting at 8-4, and both though feeling quite vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
because the Eagles, they started so well, and I think what was interesting, from, I suppose, a media or a fan perspective, is Drew Brees was critical of the Eagles offense even when they were unbeaten, and Eagles fans didn't like that. Well, look at it now. So
Right.
funny how things go.
Uh,
But there are problems there, certainly, but there are always problems in Philadelphia. It's always sunny in Philly. No, it's always, there are always storm clouds. It feels this is a team that very often goes to war with itself as much as it goes to war with other teams. The Bears had huge amounts of success against the Eagles last week on the ground. And that's an area I imagine the Chargers wish they could exploit. I don't think they have the runners in the same way that the Bears do. And I don't think Harbaugh is as innovative as Ben Johnson is. But you saw also in the Cowboys game, the Eagles got up to a quick start, but the Cowboys just kept chipping away, and kept chipping away. And Vic Fangio's defense has really struggled over the last few weeks. And so I think Herbert is sounding very chipper. The surgery seems to have gone well. I worry about that Chargers O line. I worry about the Chargers in general. But I think they can upset the Eagles. I think the Eagles probably, maybe it's that it's another loss, and that's finally when they get things figured out. And I like the Eagles. I spent time in Philly, and
I can tell by the accent. I can tell
I like it.
you've got a Philly accent.
Warts and all. Like, it's a city that is not shy. It's unsurprising that Sean Payton is from there. And I can I can see the Chargers getting a win, and then the Eagles waking up. But I really can. I think this will be. The Eagles will be licking their wounds after this, and then we'll find ways to do it. But yeah, that is my surprise for Monday night.
Yeah, it is a surprise for me, Colum. I'm taking the Eagles here to go out there and get business done. This is it's chargering time. Chargers are going to charger, they say. I'm not saying I want to see that. The Chargers are in the playoffs. I think both of these teams will be in the playoffs either way, but it would probably hurt the Chargers a lot more. In fact, just real quick, yeah, the Chargers, if they win, they're at 77% in the playoffs. They lose, they're 52%. So it's a big game for the Chargers. It doesn't
It's a
make a huge
huge game.
difference. Yeah. So I'm still taking the Eagles here. We'll see how it goes. Again, it's just one of those teams. I'm kind of like the Ravens. I'm just waiting for them to wake up. You're thinking maybe, this will be a wake up call. I'm thinking maybe they're going to come in already woke and ready to play this huge game. And before we get out of here, Colum, remind everybody, if you want to bet your mortgage on our picks, feel free to do so, but we don't recommend that. Not a betting show. 10 minutes ago, Adam Schefter, quarterback Deshaun Watson, although unlikely to play this season, the Browns are planning on having him on the roster to compete for the starting quarterback position. I hate to end the show on that. We'll probably get more into that on our other Spin Zone episodes, Power PR in the NFL. Nothing ever ceases to amaze me. Colin, what are your thoughts on hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, look, they paid him guaranteed money, so I can see why they want to get him out there. Because they're paying him, so they're not going to want to pay him to do nothing. But yeah, look, for anyone watching this, Spin Zone is something that we started this year. It's where we try to look at the league with different eyes than maybe a lot of the media. We're not worried about access. We're not worried about accreditation. We've got 6 episodes out there so far, and our plan, I suppose, is to come back next year with maybe another 6, where we're going to look, going to take our time to really kind of do deep dives on different subjects. So if people out there have ideas on things that they would like to see us explore, do get in touch. Whether that is on Twitter, or any of the other social platforms that you can find us on. Always open to hearing from people. But there is lots in the league that goes on, and is reported on in different ways. So I think it'd be interesting for us to we take a different angle on things to most.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Love the off season. In some ways, is more fun than the actual season when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's certainly more challenging, and so it can be really interesting. During the season, we're so busy with this game, and then when that's over, you got to react to that and pick that apart, and then you're just on to the next game and the next game, and Spin Zone gives us a chance to spread our wings a little bit and kind of look back and do some deeper dives. So these Spin Zone pick episodes, we're gonna do those just for fun, though, because I can't stand not seeing Colum's face for more than about a day or two, and I start to get sad. So thank you to everyone, and Colum, thank you for staying up until our half-hour show that lasted an hour. Thanks for staying up until whatever 1 o'clock in the morning it is over there in Dublin, Ireland. Appreciate you guys liking and subscribing to the Spin Zone, to anything. I'm going to put links down below. We didn't have time to get anything set, but I'll get them down there. Please check out Colum from Cork on Twitter for more of. It's so easy to sit here and just watch him work while I fiddle with my Pepsi and push buttons. So it's been a joy. It's been a joy having you all, and we're going to get you out of here. So good luck to your teams, whoever they are. I won't say go Broncos. I guess I just did. Sorry.